Finally, a pro wrestling discussion show that's civil and constructive, introspective and informative. Mr. Clean and Springsteen, the Bald and the Beautiful, Final Bell Media and the Juice Box present Drew and Juice.
All right, everybody, I'm Andrew Badella. That is Juice Springsteen. We are live for Drew and Juice, episode 17. 17 is a fantastic number. It's been a slow day.
Pretty slow, yeah.
Nothing happened. I want to thank everybody for joining us. We have Double or Nothing predictions. We have Saturday night's main event predictions. We have a WrestleMania relocation, which we will talk about and get to. I'm bald. He's not beautiful. But this is Drew and Juice. Drews, how are you?
Drews. That's a new
Yeah,
one.
You like that? Drews.
I'll take that over not being called beautiful, but how dare you? Because you are bald, so someone has to be beautiful out of the two of us.
That's right.
I mean, I look bald with this hat, but I'm doing pretty good, man.
Oh, you got a good head of hair. I remember.
Thank you. Well, you'll see it in Dallas, I'm sure. It'll be cut by a little bit by then, but maybe if I cut it soon enough, it'll grow out by July.
If you're going to be seen in public with me, you got to be ship-shop shaped. Don't be coming looking all scruffy and whatnot, all right?
Oh, you wait. Don't you worry. I'm ready to roll, baby.
Ready to roll. Strap your shit in, tight you in for a wild ride. Today should be very interesting on Drew and Juice. I'm going to tell you that much.
Yeah.
I do have some news that I could share about WrestleMania. A lot of people think it's going to Saudi Arabia. I don't think that's happening. I just at this point, I don't see Saudi Arabia. Not to say that they don't have the money, the infrastructure, or the capability, but they're already hosting one of their tent poles, and that being the Royal Rumble in 2026. So for them to have WrestleMania in Saudi, will it happen? Yes. Is it happening for WrestleMania 42? I say no. But we'll talk about all of this and much, much more towards the end of the broadcast with WrestleMania. But Juice, we got somebody from Sydney. Our producer is saying Ben Callahan.
What time is it there?
It's got to be close to like 2 a.m. Let's see. Time in. It is. I'm way off. It's almost 11 a.m. So I apologize.
Oh, good morning.
Yeah. What was I thinking?
Little espresso, huh?
What was I thinking?
I don't know.
I was thinking about London. It's 1:27.
Oh, yeah, because London's close to Australia. Or
no, not even close. Not even close.
Or maybe because you're thinking about something else. It's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to be.
Battleground predictions, I'm being told. I don't know about that one, Sean.
Yeah, Battleground. Yeah, I only have something in regards to NXT that we could touch on, but I didn't anticipate doing Battleground. We probably could have fit some more Battleground in had WrestleMania not be canceled in New Orleans. Like we could have had a little bit more time to kind of dance around some other subjects, but
I might have been thinking about Perth, but even Perth is
it's Australia. Yeah, what are you nuts?
Australia is but even Perth is probably like what 7 a.m., 8 a.m.
Well, remember when they did Elimination Chamber, it was like 5 a.m. East Coast to watch it.
Right. So it's probably around I think if
probably 15 hours.
Yeah, so it's probably like 9 a.m. in Perth right now. All right.
Something
anyways,
like
yeah, we'll get to all of it. There's been a lot happened on Dynamite, a lot happened on Raw. We'll get all to it. WWE has moved one of their shows out of Tampa, out of New Orleans. Juice, besides that, how's everything else going, man?
It's going, man. I got an interesting drink tonight. You ready for this? I'm trying it out.
Oh, what do you got? I think I saw a commercial for that, maybe on my phone. I could be wrong.
It's interesting.
Sprite and tea?
Yeah, evidently, because I was not one of these people, but evidently there were a lot of people that just tried or like had that in general over the years. Like they just mix Sprite and tea enough to where they would produce a product for it. So it's pretty good. I don't know how often I would drink it, but I like Sprite. I like tea. So.
Well, and again, if you like some tea, we could spill a little bit towards the end. Make sure you guys and girls stay tuned. Yeah. I will explain to you what is transpiring with this whole WrestleMania being moved out of New Orleans from what I was able to gather. Again, nobody has concrete answers. Anybody telling you this is where it's going to be, that's where it's going to be. Nobody has them besides the people who absolutely know, and that would be the people in TKO, and I would assume it's probably the board members. And I don't even know if the decision is final yet, truthfully.
Right. That's what I was going to get at. Is I'm not sure they are sure yet.
Right.
Like it's all just happened today. Who knows how long this has actually been in discussion? You'll have more answers than I do, so we'll talk about it later on.
And the one thing I can say for a lot of people who have been asking, this was not something where WWE went to, again, in my opinion, this is, and from what I've been told, this is not something where WWE went to New Orleans and was like, hey, we need to back out of our agreement and we'll give you a Mania, but we gotta take the more money here. That's not what happened. But we'll talk about it. Sean, real quick, I'm being told you have a question. Go ahead.
Man, we don't.
It should be announced if it happens. I'm not going to take a ton of questions in the beginning. I want to save this to the end. So again, to the guy in the back, when will this be announced?
I have an idea. Maybe whenever, they tend to announce things during other big shows. So maybe Saturday Night's Main Event, maybe Money in the Bank, because that would make sense to promote the next show. And those are 2 weeks separate from each other?
Yeah, and
event and Money in the Bank.
The Women's Evolution 2, I've said this last week, I'll say it again. I have heard nothing from people who would know. Not to say that it's not going to happen. Not to say that Sunday, April 13th, or excuse me, July 13th or whatever it is, that would work. I believe that's the 13th, right after.
Yeah. Saturday Night's Main Event on the 12th.
And All Out, or All In.
So,
Well, and I got WrestleMania on the brain. That's why I said April 12th. When it's
well,
it's not going to be April 12th. I believe it's going to be the 18th and the 19th. But anyways, it's being moved from the 11th and the 12th. But anyways, I could see it. I could definitely see it. I could see WWE hosting that event on that day on a Sunday. But again, I haven't heard anything, so I can't answer this question.
That kind of bothers me in a way, because you would think that they would promote the hell out of this thing.
We're getting closer and closer, Juice.
Yeah, you think it would satisfy them to be like a month out and go, oh, here we go, Evolution 2. It's only our second all women's PLE, but we're not going to give it more than a month.
Yeah, I could see WWE also and TKO kind of saying, hey, we're going to do this next year and we're going to do it, whenever. I don't know.
Yeah. So, and New Orleans, that's what you get.
Now they're getting Money in the Bank.
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell of a consolation.
It's what they can. It's what they can do right now. So
yeah, to satisfy those in New Orleans. Look, man, I was looking forward to going down there. WrestleMania in New Orleans was one of the best times ever. So
I absolutely love New Orleans for WrestleMania. I was at both of them. I love New Orleans for the Super Bowl. I was at one of those or two of those, and it's a great city. It's a great host city. It really is, and I was really looking forward to WrestleMania being there. We'll have to wait and see. I had a fun time in Vegas too, so it'll be interesting.
Well, yeah. How could you not have a good time in Vegas?
And it's a great host city too. But we'll have to wait and see. But again, New Orleans is a great host city, and I do hope they get a WrestleMania, which I think they will in the near future. So,
all right. Well, this is how I feel like we should go over things. I think we should kick things off with Double or Nothing, and it's the big show this weekend, even though Saturday Night's Main Event is happening. But I think Double or Nothing tentpole event should be there. What was that?
Oh, big show. You said big show.
Oh yeah, it's a big show. It's a Paul White. It's the giant show, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I think we should do Double or Nothing, and I think we should tackle Saturday Night's Main Event, and then I have 2 additional random things, and then we can dive into the WrestleMania stuff. So
sure, let's do it.
So Double or Nothing, I mean, from your end, do you think they've done enough to get everyone kind of locked in for this show? I mean, last night, it seemed like you were a little bit more critical again of maybe how the show ended. And I would wager the whole show felt that way, because it was like, oh, these guys are wrestling or these girls are wrestling. Let's have some sort of pull apart. And it was every single segment seemed to have something like that. So what say you? Do you think they've done an adequate enough job to promote this thing?
So yes. Do I think they've done an adequate enough job to promote the pay-per-view? Yes, I do believe that. dude, I think last night's ending was a clusterfuck. Yes, I did. And it seems like that's what they were going for. But I will tell you, I had no issue with them going off the air with Mina and Tony and Monet and I'm missing one, Jamie. I had no problem with that at all. And that's how I think they should have ended the show. Maybe you have some parking lot brawl or whatever, but the way that they did it, the playing the music, it was very much a cluster for me. I did not particularly enjoy the ending. It was meh.
Look out. Drew's critical of AEW. Stand back.
Right. Gabe Kidd, I like him a lot. It seems like he's not signed to an AEW contract from what you can gather off the words that he used and the verbiage he used on Fightful's interview with Sean Ross Sapp. So, again, his exclusion from that match is very interesting, but I do believe that they're possibly setting something up with a return with maybe somebody else. So we'll have to wait and see on that. It's the wrestling business, so we're going to have to wait and see. But I thought the Hangman Page Will Ospreay promo was absolutely fantastic. That's how you sell a main event. That's how you sell a pay-per-view, and they did that last night. So, yes, they've sold enough. Even Monet and Jamie, I'm looking forward to that match. Yeah, but I will say, the other matches on this card, and this is nothing against any of the other men and women, but Hangman Page and Will, I'm here for. The Anarchy in the Arena match, I'm interested to see what happens, and I'm here for it a little bit. Timeless Tony and Mina, here for that, very much so. Hayter and Monet, I want to see what happens, but I think we all know that that doesn't work for me. Monet is going to win that match. So, and then I'm going to, the Hurt Syndicate versus the Sons of Texas. The only thing that's intriguing here in this one is MJF going to turn, because they mentioned day one a lot in that promo, bet on day one, blah, 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 bet on day ones and Dustin Rhodes and everything else to that. Otherwise, there's really nothing to this match. And everything else on this card, like Okada and Bayley, is going to be a great match, but I mean, kind of out of left field.
Literally out of left field. Too bad it's not happening at all in.
And I'm sure some of these, some fans would be like, well, they had some stuff back in 67 and then they revisit it in 73.
On Collision.
Right. And it's just like, all right. But I mean, for me, this pay-per-view for me is really sold on two matches. And, AEW does very well on pay-per-view. They got a good amount of people coming to the show. I think they're at 8,000 paid, close to it. So I'll take a look at the manifest here in a minute. But again, they did enough. But I think this pay-per-view is really built off the back, I would say, of 3 matches. And that's normally how it goes. But with AEW, it's normally 5, 6, 7 matches that really have a solid build to it. Right. And this one just doesn't feel that way, for me at least.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I also wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on the whole? There have been news coming out about why it potentially was happening, but why the pay-per-view is not going to be on Triller. Seemingly, maybe like bad financials on Triller's end right now, and it might they got to put it somewhere else. And I know some fans were upset because they've, quote, created this back catalog of all these pay-per-views that they've bought through Triller, and now it's like, well, what? I got to buy another one from somewhere else, and now it's all messed up. Like, what have you heard, or what's your take on that? So, where are you going to watch the pay-per-view, Drew?
I'll probably watch it on either Fubo or Fubo or Amazon. Yeah, one of those two. Or maybe I'll put it on YouTube. Who knows? The Thriller thing is interesting. I really don't know too much. I do know that they are in some financial trouble, but I don't know whether or not that's the reason for pulling their North American, or I should say their American distribution rights, if that's what transpired. That I don't know. So it's an interesting situation, but they have another outlet in Fubo, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, they got plenty of other options to do it, and I'm sure it won't really affect the pay-per-view buys. Anybody that was buying it on Triller, I'm assuming, will still try to find any way to watch the show, so it's not like they're going to lose those audience members. But just thought it was interesting. But let's talk about this. Let's just say it is what it is, and then it's 8 matches. Is that pretty good? That seems
right
pretty
now.
Concise.
Right now, it seems like it's a solid 8. I'm sure. We got Collision going on right now. I'm sure they'll add one more maybe, and I'm sure they'll have some pre-shows. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But 8 would be I'd be cool with 8. they need to kind of slow these cards down, some of them, because they put so much on there. So many people can watch 4 hours of wrestling at a time.
And they're very good at getting off the air at like 3:58, 47. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're very good at keeping it under 4 hours, and they're hitting their time cues. But yeah, 8 matches, 4 hours, that works. 9 matches, 4 hours works. It's when you start getting into that like 12 to 13 when you're like, holy shit, But yeah,
a little bit overloaded. But let's get into it. Let's start off. Women's Owen Hart Foundation Cup tournament final. Winner gets the AEW Women's World Title shot at All In. Monet versus Jamie Hayter. Look, you kind of brought it up already. I see no way, even though Mercedes doesn't have a title on the line, even though she just recently lost the championship by way of not getting pinned herself, I think that all still lines up. We're going to add, she lost the championship and she's going to gain the Owen Hart Foundation Cup. I think Mercedes Moné is the way to go. Drew, what say you?
I think Monet is going to win this one. Obviously, the Owen Cup, and then I think Timeless Tony Storm defeats Mina, and I think we get that match at All In. I think that's where we're headed.
There, and finally, we could maybe see Monet lose a match.
Not a chance in hell, my man.
Well, would it be if it's for the women's world title? She's not going to lose her TBS, so she can.
Oh, no, darling. They're going to put both title for title. That's what's going
and the Owen Hart. Let's put it all on the line. Winner take all.
It's title for title.
Oh, it's like WrestleMania 6.
Yeah, Monet is going to win the championship, and then I'm sure they will make her relinquish the TBS title, and there will be a tournament to crown a new champion.
Wait a second. She can't relinquish it. She's got to pass Jade. Wasn't that the whole goal? That's why I said she could lose this match. We're fancy booking in another show. Yeah. But if she were to get to that match, lose against Tony, she's still TBS champion. She could still have that reign, and then it puts Tony in a higher stratosphere. But I could see Monet walking out with even more gold. Why not? Why stop now?
That's just my guess. I could be so far off, but I'm going to say that Monet. I do know that. Yeah, I'm sure, and I can't confirm this, but maybe some smaller circles that I am not privy to. They do want Monet to break Jade's record, so Jade doesn't have that record in AEW. But I don't know.
Well, let's go to it. Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa. Seemingly, you think this is just a walk in the park for Toni Storm. I've been liking her on commentary. She's wonderful. She's really great at everything. And it hasn't stopped. Like I could have seen easily a character kind of flourish out of nowhere and it go for even 6 months, 8 months, and then kind of go away. This has not stopped. She's always kind of reinventing the nuances of her character. And by not being on TV every week in a wrestling sense, but also commentating, it kind of gives her the flexibility to kind of mold the character how she needs to. And I'm looking forward to this match. I think it's going to be a great match. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mina is now officially All Elite.
Yes. And I believe
that's good.
My guess is it's probably a 2-3 year deal.
Cool. But I see Toni Storm winning and retaining here to have that massive match. Wow. Wouldn't that be wild though? If WWE does do Evolution on the 13th and the night before was Toni Storm versus Monet for all the women's titles in AEW. They take over that weekend. And
WWE has maybe Ronda Rousey wrestling at Evolution 2.
Oh, come on. We're supposed to get to that. Come on. Hey, I suggest you put out the photo. I suggested Evolution 2 first.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't want to talk about it yet. We'll talk about it later.
But yes, Mina's not winning this one. Going to be a great match with her and Tony. I look forward to that, but it's full, in my opinion, it's full steam ahead to Tony and Monet. And again, Double or Nothing. Could they throw a swerve and have Hangman Page win it? Sure. Do I think that's happening? No, but it seems to me like Double or Nothing is very much just an event, which I understand, but it's very much just an event to get to Will and Mox and Monet and Tony. That's just me.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see if those come to fruition. Let's talk about the World Tag Team titles, where you brought up one MJF who's not in this match. However, I think he will become some sort of a factor. The Sons of Texas, Sammy Guevara and Dustin Rhodes, taking on the Hurt Syndicate, Bob and Shelton, with MVP, of course, or Montel, rather, if you want to call him by his first name. But I like what they've been doing with the MJF Hurt Syndicate stuff. Easy for me to say. But this kind of match...
I won't correct you either, because it's just not my style. Go ahead.
Fair. Well, I'll correct you enough anyway, so it's all right. Even by the end of the show. I feel like, and I love Dustin Rhodes, one of my favorite all-time guys to come out of WCW back in the day, and Sammy Guevara as one of the pillars in AEW. I like these guys as a team. I just don't see them necessarily going further than the Ring of Honor tag titles. Now, with, as you brought up, All In is in the distance. This is just a show, even though it's a big pay-per-view that's a tentpole for AEW. You can't help but think, well, look at that banner that in the arena when Double or Nothing is happening for the next show. Like, All In's the big one. And those guys from Texas, you got to think they're going to have some sort of big moment maybe, or, have a big match in Texas. So maybe there's an upset brewing. And maybe that's where you eventually get that MJF Bob match down the line. So, should I do it? I'm going to say the Sons of Texas walk out as AEW World Tag Team Champions. What say you, Drew?
You want to know something crazy? I am going to agree with you because I think this is the way to get the tag team championships off of the Hurt Syndicate while keeping them strong. And MJF costs Big Bob the match, and then they have a singles match and Shelton, and Bob and MJF have a singles match at All In. I'm going to agree.
I would wholeheartedly. Yeah, I think that's a smart move. And we had thought, they're clearly going to have MJF and Bobby Lashley here. Maybe they should take what we always say, let it play out. They're just like, look, we're going to let it go until the big show and All In.
I will say that I was a little surprised at the MJF segment last night. It seemed to me like I was waiting for something. There kind of didn't seem a point with a contract. There was no point to a contract signing if there wasn't some sort of, shenanigans or tomfoolery, and there really was none. So I think the shenanigans and tomfoolery might come at Double or Nothing, which would eventually lead to a singles match at All In. And again, this helps facilitate getting the tag team championships off of the Hurt Syndicate, who seemingly look unstoppable. And you could maybe put them on the Bucks, and then maybe we could get to something at All In with some other participants, maybe FTR. And Copeland and Christian will have to wait and see.
And then maybe we can do something at All Out, which just got announced for Toronto.
There you go. You're starting to cook a little bit. You want to cook? Let's cook. All right. So
hey, I can cook. I can cook when there's easy ingredients that are facts released by the company. It's the stuff that's, go find something on your own at the grocery store and then come back and cook it. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. That's where I have problems with just guessing.
I'm very good at those. I'd be very good at the basket game where it's like, here's your ingredients, make a meal. I'm like, all right, I got you.
Isn't that what they do on Hell's Kitchen?
Chopped. It's like Chopped.
All of them. They all do that. Yeah. You ever watch Hell's Kitchen or Top Chef?
I've seen Top Chef. I don't think I've watched. Is Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah.
I think I've seen maybe 1 or 2 episodes. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's good. It's good TV. It's not as funny whenever he does it with the kids and he's just like, he can't be as harsh to them. He's like, oh, you did a good job. It's okay. Meanwhile, he's eviscerating every other person. So,
yeah,
very likable.
What are you? I'm an idiot sandwich.
Oh, man. What's not an idiot sandwich is this next match. I'm hyped for it. FTR taking on Daniel Garcia and Nigel McGuinness. Nigel McGuinness, all right, I'll just wrestle again. And he's going to be in there with 2 of the best wrestlers, at least in the tag realm, in FTR, and he's tagging with Danny Garcia. Again, this is kind of out of left field too, but I'm here to see Nigel McGuinness wrestle any chance I get later in his career. I mean, you never thought you might see it again, and now we've seen it a few times, and it's been wonderful to see him kind of do it every now and again. He's not milking it to death, and this is an interesting match, and I'm sure this can only help FTR and their stock grow further now that they've added Stokely. And as you said, if they're going to go maybe for a tag title opportunity down the line, they need to stack some wins. They've got a new manager. This is how you get momentum. I got FTR. What say you about this match, Drew?
I got FTR too. I like the McGuinness Garcia pairing. Garcia's really lost in limbo, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
every time Nigel gets in the ring, it's always something special because a lot of people never thought he'd wrestle again. So I enjoy watching Nigel wrestle, but I will tell you that I'm looking forward to FTR doing something bigger and better. No offense to the other two men, but
Sure.
It'll be a good match. But yeah, FTR's got to win this one, and hopefully they figure out what to do with Garcia. The other thing that's troubling to me on this one is, where the hell is Adam Cole? He's your TNT champion. He should be on this card too.
That's where I was like, 8 matches, but we don't have some of your main champions on this show. So what are we doing? But, that's why I'm here, and that's why they're there.
Yep. That's that.
Let's talk about a match that's just kind of there. Okada, Mike Bailey. This is going to be a barn burner, I'm sure. And it's for the AEW Continental title. And Bailey has not been pinned. I believe they made that a note over on Dynamite. He's lost matches. He's not been pinned. He didn't lose in the triple threat. He didn't get pinned. I think they brought that up on commentary on Dynamite. But unless there's some sort of what they don't ever do, like a DQ or a count out here, I think Okada is going to pin Mike Bailey. And we're going to get eventually, Kenny and Okada. Maybe.
Well, all right. So I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you brought this up.
Yeah,
glad you brought this up because Kenny and Okada seemingly were supposed to be on a collision course towards All In. The easy kind of plug and play here is having Okada in Anarchy in the Arena. It seems like maybe they didn't want to because it's kind of not his style. Okay, whatever. I get it. Didn't Okada take part in Blood and Guts? Or no? Have you ever been to Blood and Guts?
That I don't know. That's a good point.
Or was that Kota Ibushi?
I think you're right. I think it was Ibushi. And what is he doing now? Is he hurt? What is happening?
I don't know.
I feel like I haven't. You brought up him. That's a name I haven't heard in a while, to be honest with you.
Let's take a look. Ski here. No, Kazuchika Okada was in the last one in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay, versus Team AEW. So he was. And Ibushi was in the one before that in 2023. So anyways, I digress.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why Okada's not in this match, because if he could take part in Blood and Guts, he could easily take part in Anarchy in the Arena. Now, Mike Bailey and Okada is going to have a fantastic match. There's no doubt about it. Two fantastic competitors. But for me, the easy thing here was Okada representing the Elite with the Bucks, especially if you're doing 6-on-6 or 7-on-7, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You might as well just put Okada in this with the Bucks, with Moxley, with Marina, and with I don't know, pick Claudio. Fine, whatever works.
Right? Because they're not really. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see, 1, 2. It's kind of just like however many people they want in this match. It seems like it is 6-on-6 as I read it, but like to me, when they brought it up, it's like, oh, it's the Ops and these 3 guys versus the Death Riders and the Young Bucks. It was just like stacked as if they were just like, these are the people that are in it, whether it's even or not, we don't know, making it seem like who knows who could be added in or whatnot. So why couldn't you do that? Or a Gabe Kidd, any of those guys? And
why the Gabe Kidd not being in it is fine if Okada was in this, because for me, it's like Okada and Omega seem to, that's where they're headed. Maybe they're not anymore. So you don't want a fantasy book and then get mad, but it's because that's ridiculous. But it seems as if that's what everyone is led to believe, that Okada and Kenny are having a match at All In, because they've teased it more than once. They've even spoke about it on television, which they've given up equity to do. And for me, that means that match is going to happen. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's professional wrestling. But that one's a head scratcher for me. I mean, Okada's going to win this one. I think they'll keep Bailey strong, Speedball Mike Bailey, but I would have liked to have seen Okada in Anarchy in the Arena. So, and if not, then we could just have him off this card entirely, truthfully.
Yeah, it almost seems like they're just like, all right, let's do this match, which, to be fair with what you said, if you put Adam Cole on this card, it almost seems like they're just putting him on the card for the sake of it instead of having a polished build up to a match that makes sense. Now it's like, well, we'll just have matches to have matches. And again, it's not like the match is going to be terrible. It's probably going to be a standout match, but what is there to be told? What is next? As I always say, like, what do we have cooking with Okada? Is if Speedball loses this match, which I presume he will, what's next for him? Because he's been here and he hasn't been pinned, but he hasn't won anything. He didn't, and I'm not saying everybody has to win a title, but it's, it's a highly touted prospect to be bringing in the company, and he hasn't done much yet. So,
and that's, that's the thing. It's this one's a head scratcher for me. I love what AEW is doing. I love the goals. I could see it, but some of the stuff here is just I'm trying to figure out. And people like Bailey and Okada are two great wrestlers, but why are we having this match?
Because that's where the best wrestle, Drew.
All right. Wrestle on then.
And wrestle they will in the stretcher match. Ricochet versus Mark Briscoe. Drew, what's your favorite stretcher match in pro wrestling history? How about this? Can you name any other stretcher matches in pro wrestling history?
Sure. Taz and Sabu.
Sabu and RVD.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was I don't know why I said Taz. RVD and Sabu, yes. Yeah. I want to say the Big Show and Rey Mysterio.
Not sure if that was just a stretcher match or he put him on a stretcher. But Big Show was in a stretcher match, and that was probably leading up to this. Who was he facing?
Was it Taker? Lesnar?
No. Judgment Day 03 against Lesnar. I would wager that Rey Mysterio thing was in build to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you name one? Can you name one more? Because I got one in the chamber.
Stretcher.
We've mentioned WCW? I was going to say we've mentioned every other company thus far. So it is WCW.
I'm going to go terrible. Sting and Hogan. No, it's never happened.
It's terrible. Super Brawl, the OG one. I hate saying Super Brawl 1 because, it could have never had the other ones and they would have just been Super Brawl.
Well, it's WrestleMania 1, so Super Brawl works. 1.
True.
Works. Go ahead.
Elegante versus Sid Vicious.
Wow. Elegante eventually became Giant Gonzalez and was terrible in WWE. And Sid,
couldn't move. He was honestly too tall. I mean, he passed the airport test and he was a great, ambassador for WCW, but there was really nothing else there that he could do. And then he gets, hitched with an unfortunate looking gimmick in WWE. And that's what it was. So that's your stretcher match history report here on Drew and Juice. But what do you think happens with Mark Briscoe and Ricochet? This the match, it came out of, again. I don't know if you heard it earlier, but you said something came out of left field, and I said, well, they should have had it all in because it's going to take place at a baseball field. And I was going to say that again. Another out of nowhere, they're doing this match, but it's the stretcher match is fun. I like that Mark Briscoe came out with one, to tease that with Ricochet. But I don't know what else to expect from this, honestly, other than a Ricochet win.
I was on the call today with Tony Khan and other journalists, and Tony explained this match, and why it's being a stretcher match. He felt like the feud kind of needed it and everything else like that. And he also talked about it because of Sabu's passing. And again, Ricochet and Mark are going to have a good match. Stretcher match is fine by me.
I think it'll be a sneaky good match because the stretcher element, there's some spots that you can do with that you can't really do with anything else. So,
well, and Ricochet's a hell of an athlete.
He's out of his mind. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's going to be something, and Mark will take a ton of risks. So, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to go with Ricochet. And I think the match could be one of those sleepers that steals the show. We'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see, as we always do. 6-on-6, whatever you want to call it. Anarchy in the arena. What song will be played the whole time? We don't know. Maybe it'll be a New Jack's theme to celebrate more ECW alumni. But Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Willow Nightingale, and Joe, Hobbs, and Shibata take on the Death Riders, Jon Moxley, Claudio, and Marina Shafir, and Wheeler Yuta, and the Young Bucks, Matt and Nicholas Jackson. So these have been fun when they do them. I always kind of get them confused with Stadium Stampede because it's just another chaotic match. But these tend to have really unique spots. I know they did the exploding super kick for the one. There's a lot of insanity, I recall, in a lot of these Anarchy in the Arena matches, and they've become a staple in AEW. And I would wager you're going to see some staples among other weapons in this match. So, Drew, what do you think happens in this? And does anybody need to win a match like this? No, probably not. But
so I would say like nobody needs to win any matches. It's all about how they're booked going forward and all that other stuff. But wins and losses, obviously, you know, if you want to quote unquote be at the top and be a champion, I guess, then you would need to win matches. I'm gonna throw this back to you because rarely do I do that.
Yeah.
Do you think that just because it's Double or Nothing, we needed anarchy in the arena?
It absolutely comes off like that. It comes off that let's make this a thing for this show, you know, because they're not doing the casino thing, right? The with the poker chip, they're not doing that at this
Casino
show.
Gauntlet, no.
Or the ladder match.
Oh, the Face of the Revolution was that Revolution.
Well, they've had had a bunch of different, whichever, but they seem to have had that at Double or Nothing in the past. Yeah, it comes off that this is just this is Double or Nothing. You're going to get this match. So to me, it kind of seems like forced, even though they've got all these. It could have been the Casino Gauntlet.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, but that's all. I was just saying it kind of seems like it's forced. Where I don't know, we have to make this show have a thing. So this is the third one. This is to be the fourth one at Double or Nothing. The first one was the Jericho Appreciation Society and the BCC. So you had, you know, two definite factions. Yep. Then you had the BCC versus the Elite, right? And then we had the Elite versus Darby, FTR, and Bryan Danielson. So that's kind of
Didn't you have like Team AEW versus the Elite too, which was last year?
Well, if that's what you want to call Team AEW, sure. They don't have a team name, but it was Darby, FTR, Darby, and Danielson. So yeah. I mean, Darby's not, AEW.
And FTR is not in the BCC.
No, Danielson was though. So I mean, it was kind of.
So one guy makes the whole. Come on, what? My hand had wheels. Should be a bicycle. What are we doing here?
You use that way too often. You gotta find a new line.
No, it's a great line.
Is it?
Great line. Yeah, it is.
I hear crickets.
You don't hear anything. There's nobody here. There's nobody in our studio.
Exactly. Our studio. Wouldn't that be nice? I couldn't imagine you and I doing a show in the same studio.
I'd punch you right in the face.
Just say someone would be thrown out of the studio. Yeah, you'd grab across the screen and rip me out of frame. I feel like the match is kind of only there because they think it's a thing. Like let's make it a thing, and Stadium Stampede's the complement to it. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to the chaos. They make it a really interesting thing. Should it open the show?
I think so. I think that's the way to go. I think if Will is going to go over on Hangman Page, or whomever wins that match should have a stare down with Moxley, because it's the biggest pay-per-view that AEW is going to do here in the States. So ever. And it's their WrestleMania. So for me, yeah, that match should open, or it could middle, whatever. But I don't want it right before the main event. I don't like that. Oh my God,
no. We can't have that. Because that'll take a lot of life out of the main event because these guys are going to go 25, 30 minutes of just brawling. Oh, yeah. Everything, music, and that's great. But I would be nice to get that not out of the way, but it happens first so that you don't expect, wow, we still got this crazy thing we're going to see later. We saw it, and now we can kind of tune into the real story business that we got for the rest of the show, which is crazy coming from me. I just said we're the best wrestler. They're telling great stories these days, Drew.
Yeah, and the thing is again, I would really like, the stories like you said, but I mean, I don't know. There's got to be something more with this. Like, we're having Will and Hanger end the show, so Owen Cup obviously means a lot. Will can get very emotional, but I need a stare down or even a beat down from Moxley, because your next job is to sell the next pay-per-view. And right now, I think they have 15 to 16,000 tickets sold for All In. That match maybe moves a couple, but if you can, and I'm talking about a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand, but if you put some emotion behind it, get people invested, then you'll sell a lot of tickets. And a beat down or a stare down or whatever, because Will has made this like it's his boyhood dream. And Hangman's basically being like, I need it more than you. I need this win. Almost like The Rock and Austin from 17. Like, I need it, Rock. So for me, one needs it. One's the other boyhood dream. That stuff sells. Hook, line, and sinker. But you got to make sure it sells to the next pay-per-view.
Couple things. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it, but that's what we do here on Drew and Juice. It almost came off, both those guys' promos kind of came off authentic in the way of like, maybe not directly talking to Tony Khan, but being like, look, this is where my character or your character is right now. And we know that the biggest show in the United States that we're going to put forth is in July. It's coming up next.
Bro, that works.
And that real life works. And it shows how hungry they really are, whether it's storyline or for real.
Very well said. I have said this for a very long time. Real always works. Real always sells. Real life drama, real life promos, real life issues. Always works. Why do you think people get so invested in brother and brother or family versus family? Because it happens in real life. So for Will to sit back and say, this has been a childhood dream of mine, or it's a dream of mine to walk into the O2 as a world champion for a major company and have my family and my son and everybody else there and my friends, that people get behind that type of stuff, and that works. So it was a very good promo. And then Hangman Page retorts with, I need this because I've been there, and I want my wife to believe in me again. I want my son to believe in me again. And, this is the man she married and stuff like that. And people can relate to that too. People work their ass off for other people's acceptance and other people's, desires. And that would be his wife and his kid. People can absolutely relate to that. So it works. Brett and Owen worked because it was family. Shawn Michaels and Brett worked because it was Shawn's dream. And Brett and Shawn didn't like each other, A lot of things work when you could blend reality into it. It works.
Right. And now you brought up some ticket sales for All In. Where do you think they want to land if they had it perfectly for them?
Sellout.
Sure, but like a number. You said 15 or 16 is where they're at. Do you think they'd be wanting to hit that 20 to have a nice solid number?
Tony, if you're watching, I would be happy to help you guys get to 25,000. I think the pricing structure needs work around the globe. I'm not sitting here saying you guys don't do.
We're running out of time before July 12th, Drew.
Well, what I'm saying is I'm not sitting here saying you guys haven't done well attendance-wise, but I think your pricing structure needs some work. Because I don't think it's WWE too. A lot of these companies are not putting themselves in the consumer's shoes. They also don't fully understand the secondary market. A lot of these guys and girls, and I'm not claiming that I know all, but I know the secondary market like nobody else's business because it is my business. So for me, and the primary is one of my major sources of my business as well. There's a huge difference between the primary and their secondary. We'll talk about that later when we could all sit under the learning school of Drew. But they don't put themselves in the consumer's shoes, and they're not factoring in the secondary market. What WWE tries to do is eliminate the secondary market by overpricing their tickets. It's not working. Now, WWE sold a lot of tickets, but their premium seats and their floor seats are not moving because they're too high. They're too damn high. And you could ensure sellouts other ways. But I will say that I think AEW could move more tickets, and I think the number they should try to get at is 25K, and I think they'll get there. I really do. A lot of people, for some odd reason, are praying for this event to be a failure, and that's so freaking weird. It is so weird when you have no financial investment in it, just so you and your moronic friends can come on social media and laugh or give excuses or whatever. It is the weirdest shit ever. So weird.
Thank you, Drew.
You're welcome.
We all needed to hear that. Quickly though, who wins Anarchy in the Arena?
Who gives a shit?
Good guys or bad guys? Honestly, yeah. I don't care who wins. I don't know how much this.
I'm just looking for some spots
for the future. Like, it doesn't mean much.
I'm just looking for some spots. If we get a cool return, I'm here for it. If like Eddie Kingston,
who are you saying? That's what I think.
I don't think it's Darby, man. I think everyone's like, oh, Darby's coming back.
He's making the ascent down.
Yeah, not to mention, like, you got to give the brother some time to like breathe. I mean, Darby's a nutcase. Maybe he is. I don't know.
Can you imagine? I think repels from the ceiling, but they make it seem like it's from Everest. He still got his
comes down wearing the glasses.
His whole thing.
I mean, listen, if that works. So, but I would, a return for me is something I would like to see in this match. And if they give it, they give it. If they don't, they don't. I'm there for the spots. And I really like license some really good music, Tony. Start spending some bucks. Get some like corn or something. I don't know, or some I don't know, whatever you want. Go for it.
That's why I said they got to. It'd be cool if they did New Jack's theme. I think it'd be so much fun because
didn't they do like a playoff
over. For this?
No, there was like
in the arena
1 year. But anyways, I digress.
It would just be fun because they played Wild Thing over and over again, right? Didn't they do that? Like continuously?
I think so.
But and that's where I thought of it was like, oh, this is a callback to New Jack because he would have Natural Born Killers, Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, and it would play through the arena the whole time and then replay again. And I think, I don't know, you say buy some songs. Why not? It doesn't make any, you have someone come out to it. I don't know who you can have come out to it, but maybe Hook make a little appearance. But yeah, let's talk main event. Owen Hart Cup. Someone's going to win, even though both guys need it. Will Ospreay, Hangman Adam Page. It's going to be a barn burner, to say the least, not a house burner. Sorry, Swerve. But yeah, I don't know. What say you? You seem to think it's all in for Will Ospreay because he wants to walk into his home venue as champion.
100%. I think Will is winning this match, and I do believe that Will goes on to All In and he defeats Jon Moxley to become the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And I do believe that Will walks into the O2 and is a big driver of tickets. I think they are testing the drawing power of Will Ospreay. They are
immediately,
they are in year 2 of their investment with him, and I think they are hoping for big dividends. So we'll have to wait and see.
And the best way to maximize that potential to see how it goes is
give him a nice jump start.
Give him the world title, and the first show he defends that at is going to be in London. Like, why not? That's perfect, And that's where you're going to see, like, this is as best as it could get at the peak to begin this. If it works, this is what we have. We can really roll with this. So I'm kind of in agreement with you. I selfishly still want Hangman and Swerve, but I don't think they're going to end up going down that path with so little time to All In, unfortunately. But I don't know. I just love those two guys as a feud. It's so perfect. But
yeah, I was just texted that Cole and Fletcher, Adam Cole and Kyle Fletcher, had a confrontation and a face-to-face on Collision. For me, Kyle Fletcher is a star in the making, and he's got the look. He's 6'4". He's chiseled out of granite. That is somebody who AEW needs to really make sure that they do right by, and I think they will. I think Tony Khan loves the guy, and I think he should be if you want to talk about the future, him and Will had such good matches, and those two could really carry the company for a long time.
And I mean, it'd be pretty simple. Who would you want to have Will potentially face as one of his first feuds? Kyle Fletcher's there, man.
I know they're best friends behind the scenes. I mean, everyone knows that. So.
But you would know that, like, as long as Will's champion, you could tap into that, and immediately you got a feud that's happened already, and now the title's on the line. Didn't
Sean win the championship and then take on Bulldog and then his best friend Diesel? So, I mean, it works. And then Sean wanted to work with all his buddies, right?
Sean? I understand who you're talking about. You're talking about Mania 12?
Sean beat Brett, and then I believe he worked with all of his buddies. Didn't he he took on Bulldog, right?
Well, that was no. Wasn't Mankind one of those first ones?
No, that was in September. I want to say Mind Games was September.
Oh, Best Friends, Better Enemies. Is that what it was? Enemies.
I don't know. Let's see. I don't remember, but I remember being a kid, and I remember that Sean's first couple opponents were like his buddies. Like looking back on it, it was like Diesel, Hunter,
that makes sense.
1, 2, 3 Kid. So I mean, I could see Will wanting to work with his buddies. I could see it.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think it works. I don't see why it can't. be those two guys. Yeah, Beware of Dog is the second one. So it was Diesel, then it was him. King of the Ring, I think he was a part of a tag match. Yeah, you're right. Where's that? Mind Games was in September. I don't know why I thought it was earlier than that, but I maybe I forgot that Sean didn't. He held the title for a while there.
Oh yeah.
Until Sid came in and said,
Oh yeah.
So, all right, but yeah, Double or Nothing. I'm looking forward to it. We've said it all the time, but AEW is pretty damn like flawless, undefeated on pay-per-view, as it seems, where no matter what you get, no matter what the card is, you're probably going to leave that card feeling, wow, like, all right, AEW on pay-per-view, man. Now I know Dynasty was a little bit of a mixed bag with some fans, but this is their chance to redeem themselves. That arguably, their second biggest show, So,
and yeah, I mean, I do believe that the show, it's not like the show doesn't deliver. Their pay-per-views don't deliver, because they do. It's just, for me, this match, and a lot of pay-per-views are built off the back of 2 or 3 big matches. AEW's pay-per-views normally have about, this is no bullshit, 5 or 6 big matches.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you go back and look, I could do it real quick.
Well, wait till All In. You're going to, I mean, that will be,
but like
damn near every match is going to be loaded.
And here's last year's Double or Nothing, okay? And you could say, oh, well, I mean, Anarchy in the Arena, fine. The match sells itself, right? But you had Swerve taking on Christian Cage. Okay. Monet versus Willow for the TBS title.
Yeah, that's a good match.
Copeland versus Malachi Black, where Adam broke his leg, and that was a barbed wire steel cage match.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
So, I mean, that barbed wire steel cage match sold me on the pay-per-view. Moxley and Takeshita for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship Eliminator match, which is a great match. And I want to say you had, what was the other one? Yeah, you had Will taking on Roderick Strong for the AEW International Championship. And that was Will's first, I want to say that was his first singles.
Will was getting integrated into that.
Yeah, but I mean, come on.
That room.
Those are 3 matches. So for me, again, it is what it is. But I feel like this pay-per-view is really built off the back of like 2 matches, tops.
Well, that's what's the good thing about it, is maybe it'll, turn out to be better than we even anticipate. And we can think it's going to be good, but, maybe 4 or 5 matches over deliver. Like, again, I kind of joke with the stretcher match, yet I truthfully think there's some unique stuff they could pull off in that match where I'm going to really like it. So who knows what, is going to really do well.
And again, AEW, this is not me, because I'm on the payroll, Andrew Paydala, but they always deliver on pay-per-view.
Yeah. That's right. Anything else on Double or Nothing before we transition to the Federation?
No. Go order it. Should be a good one.
Yes, I agree. And again, man, Memorial Day weekend, you got Saturday night's main event on Saturday night, you got Battleground, and then you got Double or Nothing. 3 big shows within 24 hours. If you got the time, man, why not? I mean, the weather here sucks, so I have no problem watching pro wrestling.
And that was our thing. Like, the weather here, I think it's going to be like a high of 60, and it's going to be, windy. So maybe, we'll have to wait and see. But there's a lot of wrestling, definitely a lot of wrestling. So we'll wait and see. But I will be definitely watching Double or Nothing, and I have a funny feeling me and my son will be watching Saturday night's main event because he's amped for it. So
yeah, and let's talk about it. We've got 4 matches as of press time. Who knows after SmackDown if we get a women's match? I know that was somewhat of a discourse where there's no women's matches on this card, and they've done 5 for a Saturday night's main event before. So curious to see where that goes. But as of now, we got 4 matches, and it's pretty. I think it's pretty interesting. I think it's somewhat stacked, to be honest with you.
It is. It's a 4-match card that has a lot of
title, Cage, Cena's wrestling, and then the tag match is stacked with story. So
yeah, I was talking about this with Blake Mitchmore yesterday, and I said, I'm really happy that John versus Truth is not for the title. My son was asking me, why is R-Truth getting a title shot? Him and John Cena just, kind of got really into this, and is Truth deserving? And I was like, very interesting. And I didn't realize that it wasn't until on Monday when they announced non-title match. And I was like, okay, good on them. I thought that was good. John wants to work with Truth in his hometown, or where he lives, I should say. His hometown's Boston, but where he lives or has a home, great, it works. And I'm looking forward to the match because I know damn well that John and Truth are going to have a good one. The tag match has a lot of intrigue for me as well because, you know, Rollins and Breaker taking on an unlikely duo of Punk and Sami Zayn is a good match. It's a really good match. And the cage match, which you alluded to, man, Drew and Priest, that feud, I think it ends in the cage. And I think Drew McIntyre after this is going to be pushed towards one of the major championships. So we'll have to wait and see on that one too. But you know,
did you go back and watch Capital Punishment with your son? Oh, come on. You got to see how this all started.
Oh, with Truth and Cena?
Truth and Cena and DC for the title.
Yeah.
2011.
You know, and again, I think a match that a lot of people shit on out of the gate, which I thought was a mistake, was Logan and Jay. And WWE was so smart to give Jay's first title defense to Seth Rollins so people won't be like, they put the championship on Jay, and his first title defense is against a celebrity who's a part-time wrestler who has a giant, enormous social media following and actually is a better wrestler than a lot of people. But hey, what do I know? But, you know, Seth Rollins, that match, I thought it was very good on WWE, and I'm very much looking forward to the Logan Paul Jey Uso match because I think it is going to be a very, very good one, and I think you all are going to eat your words.
Well, let's talk about that match first, right out the gate. World Heavyweight title, Jey Uso, Logan Paul. I mean, say what you want, but Logan Paul, in every match he's been in, even if it's a Royal Rumble, he's always making a moment. He's always making himself talked about by everybody in pretty much all a positive manner, you know, in the ring. And I think his promos have even gotten better. And it's nice, again, even if it's not a bad thing, if there's a world title match when you know it's a formality. Like, I don't give any chance for Logan Paul to win this match, right? Or to win the title, rather. But that doesn't take anything away from it because it's a worthwhile opponent for Jey Uso. This is another world title opportunity for Logan Paul. So it's still showing he's very capable in the caliber of to get to that shot. And I think at some point they might even give him a world title, but not yet. And I just think the match will deliver. So give me Jey Uso to win. Looking to see I don't know what's next with Jey though. You got Money in the Bank. That throws a lot into it too, because whoever wins that case, you know, they can cash it at any time. I don't know.
Yeah. I think you probably, we'll have to wait and see, but I think you probably get a rematch with Jay and Gunther at Money in the Bank. I think Mr. Johnson.
They get a match on Raw, don't they? Oh, no. Wait. Was that June 9th? Didn't they say something?
June 7th, I think is
yeah, didn't they say Gunther gets a shot?
I want to say it was the 7th.
Hold on. Let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, Gunther will be in a world title match on June 9th. He will challenge the winner of Jay and Logan. So that's when the match will happen. It will not happen at Money in the Bank.
Alrighty then. Well, it is what it is. Making Raws important in the summer. I get it.
Well, but right, but then that leaves that Money in the Bank. That's someone will win that case. And 2 days later, there's a world title match.
Bing bong. I'll do this quickly because I want to get into WrestleMania and then I want to do the quick hitters. Jey Uso retains. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre. I think Drew.
Me too. I think he's got, like you said, a lot ahead. Money in the Bank, a lot of stuff going on.
I think I'm going to go with Breaker and Rollins. I think Punk and Sammy, just for some reason, they lose. I'm not going to get into the why.
What do you mean? Is Sami Zayn turning on Punk or no?
I guess you'll all have to watch. And
you're not the booker. You don't know. So what do you think?
You're right, and I don't know. But it just seems like they put these two together for that purpose, to have like a momentum, and for them to lose right out of the gate in a tag match, their first tag match together, I think would be a momentum killer. Even though it's Punk and Sami Zayn, I'm going to pass on that one. I'm going to go with Rollins and Breaker, and yes, I think Sami Zayn could turn, although.
Because then it leads them to have their own little side feud where they're still at a high level on the card, but they're not really involved with the title, Sammy and Punk.
And Punk can have a match with Sammy in California, and that could work. And Breaker could be in the Money in the Bank, and Rollins could potentially be in a tag match. We'll have to wait and see. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. And then we have the John Cena.
What's the main event? What do you think the last match is for the show? Cena?
It should be the cage. That's what I would do.
No.
But Cena's going to be the main event. Yeah,
Cena
I would do the cage.
I'd do the cage match first.
It's Saturday at 8:00 on Memorial Day weekend on the East. I'm having Cena kick the sucker off. All right, that's what I'm doing.
And maybe the world title closes. The tag match could close if anything.
Sure, whatever works. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Here's another shocker. R-Truth is going to beat John Cena.
I'm in agreement. I don't know how. Could be by pin, could be by accident, could be DQ, could be. I agree 100% because it doesn't hurt Cena, and Cena's still champion. He can moan and bitch about it, about how he got. There's so many avenues to do, especially with Cena wanting to
swindled me into having a match, and then you came and you beat me because you cheated, and I'll never let my guard down again.
What happens if that happens, or when that happens? R-Truth gets a win. Is this the WWE Eliminator, Drew?
Well, hold up. What happens if we get? I'm just saying. What happens if we get Truth, Cody, and Bad Bunny against John, Travis Scott? Who's your third?
Who's the third man?
Who are you going to put in there? I'm just asking. Who do you think should go in there?
I don't know. I was all on board for Truth being with Cena and Travis Scott as a triple rap duo, but that ain't happening.
I'm going to go with McIntyre in a 6-man.
Drew with Cena and Travis Scott.
And
Scott. I could see Drew hitting a Claymore to someone and Travis Scott.
And you can even get
on over to get the pin.
You could even get rid of Truth and put Priest in there if you really wanted to. Priest and Bunny.
Well, yeah, that would make most sense. And then you could have, there it is, because then Drew could be on the team, and Damian Priest could be on the team, and they just had the match in the cage. Perfect. Look at that.
And that's at Money in the Bank. Now, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. That's just a prediction. But yeah, that's what I think. Obviously, we started the show later. We had some issues with DMs on X. I think it was just down. But we're here now.
Today, yeah.
Yeah, it's been weird. I think the WrestleMania news crashed Twitter. It's just been weird.
Can I do the quick rapid fires, then we'll dive into WrestleMania? So we just get that WrestleMania.
Yeah, go for it.
What are your thoughts on JC Mateo as a name?
Stupid. Next. Just call him Cobb. J Cobb.
Wait. J Cobb? Or just Cobb?
No, not Cobb. I mean, just call him, I don't know, JC Mateo.
Cobb would have been so funny.
I got to look up Jeff Cobb and where they got Mateo from. Is that his middle name?
Matthew? I don't know. I think I looked it up. I don't think it is. I don't think there was anything previously that had it.
Yeah. All right.
It's funny how you're just it's terrible. Cobb would have been funny. NXT in Tampa canceled from the Yuengling Center. What happened there?
It's a lot, man. It's a lot to ask of fans. 4 nights. I think it's overkill. And not named WrestleMania, truthfully, or SummerSlam. And you know what? I'm going to say this on air so you cretins can hear me and understand, you Muppets. They have Saturday night's main event has sold very well. Battleground has sold very, very well for NXT. And then you have Monday Night Raw, which has sold very, very well. You're talking about over 25,000 fans in a 3-night span in Tampa. That's going to be in the mid 80s and beautiful. I think Sunday might rain. I don't know.
It rains all the time in Tampa. I was down there for a 4-day span and it rained 75% of the time.
So it's a very, very good run of shows for TKO and WWE. I think they got overzealous. They shot their load by trying to have 4 back to back to back.
They love that.
But it's a tough ask. And realistically, I can tell you the ticket sales were terrible for NXT in Tampa, not Battleground, the television show.
Isn't that crazy, though, too? Because NXT runs out of Orlando, and you'd think, Florida, there's got to be a lot of NXT fans. Why wouldn't they show up to the TV taping?
I guess.
Yeah. 2 other things. Ronda Rousey You posted a photo of her, or a GIF of her the other day. What's that about?
We have a new match that was just announced for Double or Nothing. Paragon in a 6-man tag against the Don Callis family, which is Fletcher, Takeshita, and the Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander.
Oh, that's official.
That is a trios match, official for Sunday. So we have 9 matches. Your
It
question
is
was
official.
Your question was about Ronda. I could say that I believe that Ronda is actively, the conversations have been happening, but I think they're getting hotter and hotter in terms of her coming back to wrestling. Whether it's with WWE or AEW, I want to say it's WWE. I think WWE is very, very interested in working with Ronda Rousey. Not to say that AEW isn't, but I think WWE
she worked with Ring of Honor.
Yeah, I think WWE is very, very interested in bringing Ronda back to the division. So
now you say that, you mean just in general, or do you think it's purely what I speculated on, which was what a better way to promote the potential Evolution 2 card even more by saying Ronda Rousey's return to wrestling is going to be there? Or is it just Ronda coming back to wrestle like full-time Jace, like, more than just one PLE?
I have these on my desk, and this wasn't like I didn't know you're going to ask this, but I'm going to finish this weekend, and I think this needed some time to cool down, and Vince McMahon needed to go way away for Ronda to even consider this. I am a fan of Ronda Rousey. Ronda has always been very, very kind to me, and I think she's one of these figures that gets mislabeled and misunderstood because she is a kind, gentle soul. And I understand where a lot of people, have their opinions without meeting somebody or actually knowing somebody. But I think Ronda wanted to do and continues to be a great mom, but really wanted to do the whole family thing. And will continue to want to do that. But I think Ronda is leaving the door open for a wrestling return. I think it happens sooner rather than later. The other book, which has nothing to do with Ronda Rousey, but I do believe that the Evolution 2 with Ronda attached to it sells. So I think that's a big selling point. I think she'd like to be a part of that. I know she'd love to be a part of it.
Of course.
If
she was
it
part
works.
of the first one, no?
Right. But it's just empowering that women and everything else like that. And Ronda is a big advocate for that. The other book I'm going to read, which was recommended to me and which was sent to me, and I appreciate it, is this. Todd is God. The authorized story of how I created Extreme Championship Wrestling. So those are the books I'm going to read this weekend. You always got to have books when you have kids, in my opinion, because otherwise you want to hurt yourself. Because they're here, there, and everywhere, and we will be busy, but I want to be able to read those and have a cocktail or two. So Ronda attached Evolution 2 makes a ton of sense. Go get those books too. Read. Keep your mind sharp.
And then Guy Evans I don't know if it's released yet, but it's all out there.
It is the Nitro book.
Beyond Nitro. So that'll be something. I got to get my hands on that because I love the first one. I have the first one. So I got to check that out and see. Read more on what so depresses me, which is the end and depressing days and some of the bad times that WCW dealt with in those last years. But always a good read to talk WCW. Last thing. I brought it up because I got an email, so I was ahead of it, but I had no idea what was going on. Yet, seemingly, you're coming up with more and more closure on this.
We're going to talk about Pittsburgh. Here we go.
Raw in Pittsburgh, 5:30 p.m. start. What's happening, Drew?
So I contacted my contacts across, the United States and stuff like that because we had a busy day, and I happened to have a meeting. It wasn't really a meeting; it was just a phone call with people who would know about what's going on at PPG Paints Arena, and they confirmed to me that it was something that was done for the possibility, because they don't know what they can and cannot say, to have a show. A longer show or another show that WWE produces at that building. Now, what they could do is they could have the draft there and they could make it, Raw is first on Netflix, and Raw has been taped before and then shown live on Netflix. So quote unquote live. So that's nothing new. Then you could run SmackDown and have SmackDown. Either way, I do believe you're getting a double booking that night in Pittsburgh because there is no announced show for the 4th of July. And I believe WWE is looking to give their talent and crew that week, Friday, Saturday off.
Especially
They
holiday.
have to travel on Sunday.
Coming off of Saudi too, which
right. And and we talked about that. Whether it's Jeddah or whether it's Riyadh, it is a very, very difficult travel. So, and don't get me wrong, these men and women are taken care of, but having their crew in Riyadh and then going to Pittsburgh, it would be nice if you could give them, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of July off, the 5th of July off as well. And then they have to travel on the 6th to get to, I believe Providence is on the 7th.
Yes.
So I think that's what happens. I do believe SmackDown will be taped. That's just
Go ahead. They got to have July 5th off. That's Seinfeld Day.
Oh God, whatever the hell that is.
It's the day it debuted in 1989, July 5th.
Wow, the balls on them. That's when people worked during the 4th of July.
Yeah, that's why it was in 89 and there was no other episodes until fall of 1990 because it took them a while to do it. And I'll tie this back into wrestling. Is it Brandon Tartikoff? There's a guy from NBC that took money that was allocated for Saturday night's main event, I'm pretty sure, and gave it to Seinfeld for an unprecedented 4-episode order, which normally for an order or a season, you'd get like 12 for like a half, or you'd get a full 24 episode season. But they took money that was allocated for Saturday night's main event and put it towards Seinfeld getting 4 extra episodes because he believed in the show, and it worked. And then that was season 2. Wow. That was season 1, and then they got a 12 episode, and then they were off to the races. So crazy how things tie back to wrestling and Seinfeld, 2 of my favorites.
Yeah. I did not know that.
You learn something every week with me, Drew.
I hope to learn something new every day.
Yeah. Well, on Thursdays, I like to be the one that could potentially give that information to you.
Well, I appreciate that.
That's right. I appreciate you, Drew. Drew and Juice. Drew and Junk. Druce. Whatever you want to call it.
Druce. That works.
Hey, you fell into that one. I was on accident, but it works.
It's not a truce. It's a what was it? It's a Druce.
Druce. Yeah. So when we do the Mega Powers handshake, it's a Druce.
There you go.
There it is. Speaking of Mega Powers, let's talk WrestleMania, baby. Where's it at, Drew? Where's it not going to be? And where do you think it's going to be in 2026? Because 11 months out, and WrestleMania is not going to be in New Orleans anymore. Dropped out of nowhere. Now, this has just been the report. There's no WWE official announcement on this, on it not being in New Orleans or where a replacement's going to be. But everybody went to social media to talk about it. And you were the guy that knows more about the behind the scenes in the ticketing realm and stuff like that. So I will give you the floor. Where the hell is WrestleMania going in 2026? Drew Baydell.
All right. So I, did some digging and whatever else. And I don't do dirt or anything else like that. And I could tell you that there were some things that seem to have taken place with New Orleans and their sports board and everything else. It just seemed like WWE was informed of this, and New Orleans was informing WWE and vice versa. And this was kept very quiet. And this was, I think, known, I want to say weeks ago, if not maybe over a month. But I would say weeks ago, just to be safe. And it seems like WWE has numerous bids for WrestleMania 42, and it seems like they are pretty, if not, they have already decided that, I don't know, but it seems like it's either going to be Orlando, from what I was told, or Las Vegas. And Las Vegas being the front runner. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, this wasn't something, from what I've gathered and what I could tell, that New Orleans was told, hey, thanks, but no thanks for going to the highest bidder. That's not how this happened. The bid was already done by New Orleans. The venues were secured, and it seems like everything was agreed upon. Otherwise, WWE would have not sent out Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to make an announcement and have all the images and everything else. So, again, it is an unfortunate situation for the city of New Orleans and Louisiana, but it seems like they will make good. And I just think there's some things that I'll have to let them come out and say, because it's really not my place, but it seems to be financial. So, we'll have to wait and see.
All right. So let's just go location by location. So do you think it will go to Saudi Arabia?
No.
In 2026?
No.
Okay. Even now, I know you said I know the Rumble's there, but let's say they wanted to have Mania there. They could easily just say, well, Rumble's going to go somewhere else and Mania could go there. Like, they wouldn't necessarily have to have both of those events in Saudi for them to have it next year, right? Like, if they wanted to do WrestleMania there, they'd move Rumble. No?
I think it would be very, very unlike what. Now, don't get me wrong. I said Saudi has the money. They want to host a WrestleMania. They have the infrastructure. It's not the issue. But I think doing Rumble and WrestleMania, 2 tent poles, within a 4-month span, I just don't see TKO and WWE doing that. Now, do I see Saudi hosting a WrestleMania outside of 2026? Yeah, I do, for sure. Yes.
But you see what I'm saying, though? Like, if they were to go, oh, well, WrestleMania is going to actually be there in 2026, we're moving the Rumble out of Saudi. Do you
no,
they wouldn't do that?
I don't think so. I mean, anything can and will happen. I mean, I didn't think that if you had called me yesterday and said, hey, New Orleans is losing Mania, I'd say, yeah, I don't think so, but here we are. So I don't know.
I feel good for Minneapolis because they, you guys thought you had it. How many years? Now New Orleans gets screwed.
It's funny. There's so many stories that I'm not sure whether are accurate or not, but there are so many people that I've spoken to, and some, people are on that board here in Minnesota, and they were promised the sun, the moon, and the stars. All right, well, we'll give you something that's very comparable to WrestleMania. We're going to do something that's never been done before, and you're going to be the first. US Bank and Minnesota was like, sweet, and we're giving you a 2-night SummerSlam in 2026, and we're gonna have a 2-night SummerSlam in 2025. So we're not the first. I mean, it's very interesting how that all went down.
What, did they hate Minneapolis?
No, they probably just hate me.
Well, who doesn't? But what happens
right.
if not to say that it would, but like, let's say MetLife and SummerSlam doesn't sell to what they want for both nights. And I'm not saying that they would not make it 2 nights again, but what if they're second guessing and go, wow, and then they shrunk it to 1 night and they screwed them over again in Minneapolis? Isn't that crazy?
Well, I don't know, man. I'll tell you.
You make them that first show. There's no way they're not doing it. Now, if they do it in MetLife and it doesn't work, you could see how it could change.
And I think that what could happen is you do, MetLife, you do Minnesota, and then I think the third 2-night SummerSlam could be in Saudi, and then they just do away with it. The 2-night
no matter how well it does.
I'm saying I don't think it's going to do well. I think the 2-night SummerSlam. That's not what I'm asking you.
I'm saying no matter how well it does, good or bad, are you saying that 3 years is all that they're going to try? Because if it's successful,
no. If it's successful, they'll run it for. If it's successful, they'll keep running it into the ground for sure.
Thank you.
But I do believe. I think the MetLife stuff is going to be a challenge. I think US Bank Stadium is going to be a challenge. We'll have to wait and see what the card is, the prices, everything else like that. They're kind of out there, but I do believe they'll slash some of those, especially the lowers as we get closer and closer. But I think 2 nights for SummerSlam is daunting. I think 2 nights for the Royal Rumble is daunting. I thought WrestleMania wasn't daunting because at times WrestleMania was too long and overkill in terms of matches for 1 night. Now it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. So again, I think this is a lot, not only for the WWE, but for the fans in their wallet. Because most people, if they get the opportunity, would you rather go to 2 nights of WrestleMania or 2 nights of SummerSlam, are going to pick WrestleMania time because it's WrestleMania.
That's right. It's the showcase of the Immortals. Sure, it's not the biggest party of the summer. All right. So people are saying, could be international anyway, but not Saudi. What say you about London?
I'm never going to rule out London. I think London desperately wants a WrestleMania, but for right now, I'm going to say no. Sorry. Okay. I know that was the hot rumor. And listen, I'm not going to sit here and crap on people because that was starting to make the rounds and people I speak to too. They were saying that London's a very strong possibility, but I don't see it now. No.
Now let's get to, what you. Oh, let's answer this question real quick because I saw this in our chat. Drew, where's the story going to go for Liv and Dom with Roxanne Perez and Finn now that Roxanne's seemingly in the Judgment Day?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if Roxanne's in the Judgment Day or not. I could see a mixed tag match happening sooner rather than later. Nasty Canada says, Andrew, found this live stream. Finally missed your voice. Be a full-time YouTuber, please. My family and I miss your life. I mean, I'm never going to do 5 days, 6 days, 7 days a week, but me and Juice do a show together once a week, and I will consider doing another one, maybe some review shows, but I appreciate that, Nasty Canada.
Whoa. Well, I'm already being pushed to the side for a secondary show. Can't wait to be on Rampage next week.
Where is Raw on August 18th going to be? I don't know.
They didn't announce it.
Do we have any others, Mr. Producer? We do. Sean, do you think, Juice, I'll let you answer this. Do you think Mariah May comes back to AEW, or is she gone from AEW? And what happens to Liv and Roxanne? Everyone wants to know about Liv and Roxanne.
Look, they planted the seeds with the chicken nuggets and the apple for Carlito, and Roxanne's trying to get in good with the Judgment Day. And I just hope it comes to fruition where Roxanne wins Money in the Bank that I have been, kind of touting since, I think they plugged Money in the Bank coming. So I want her to win. I think she's the next woman up, as the phrase can go sometimes. And if the vehicle for her to get that is going to the Judgment Day and kind of screwing over Liv, I think you got some money there, especially if Liv were to, end up being a singles champion at some point, and then you have that Roxanne Money in the Bank looming. I think there's a lot of meat on the bone there. What was the other question with Mariah May? Do you think she goes to WWE or stays in AEW? Look, I think it's easy to, crap on people that say outwardly, oh, I want to go to WWE or, whatever. That's ridiculous. Before 2019, regardless of what you thought of WWE, ask probably any wrestler with a level-headed mind, and they would say, my goal was to make it to WWE. Or before, it was my goal was to make it to the World Wrestling Federation. And just because AEW is a viable number 2 that's on TV every week with pay-per-views and they're worldwide and everything, does not mean that you can't say, I want to go to WWE without, it doesn't mean that you're crapping on AEW because of that. So if Mariah May is saying, eventually I'd like to, sure, maybe eventually. I think MJF would like to do that. There's so many avenues, and I think as a fan, you're really naive if you're assuming that, this is not the NFL where they have one helmet guys. You go to different companies. That's just what you do. And I think wherever Mariah May in her career go, I think as long as it's good for her, it's good for me. So I think she'd thrive anywhere, but we'll see. I like her in AEW. I'd be thrilled to see her in WWE. There's the women's rosters across the board. Any company these days is loaded. So I'll take her wherever. And I think she'd work well.
I think Mariah has good representation and a good agent. And I think that this is a very shrewd negotiating tactic, one that I would advise a lot of people to do, especially if you have the equity and a company has given you television time. Now, what I will say is that if a company is willing to offer you what you have asked for, and even then some, and you still choose to go somewhere else, that might carry some weight with you going to wherever you're going. You should never burn a bridge.
That's what I was going to say.
Going somewhere else.
If you want to cross it.
Yeah, and what I will say is that, she's young. Mariah is young. So if you can make a lot of money and stay where you're at, and you could still potentially go to WWE in the next 3 to 4 years, why not do it? I don't know any of the contract details. I am sure Tony wants to keep Mariah, but I think if I had Tony's ear, I would tell him, hey, make a significant offer to try and keep her. But if she is going to play the game of this isn't enough, at some point, let her walk, because at the end of the day, I guarantee you WWE is not going to offer her $1 million or even anywhere close to that to come over. So
very interesting point, Drew. Just to touch back on WrestleMania. So down to Orlando and Vegas for you. Give me a positive about Orlando first.
Great city. I mean, there's a lot to do. I believe it's called Riverwalk, right?
Yes.
I think I had a lot of fun there. So,
yeah. We're talking Mania 33, right? Because 24 in Orlando, or is it Miami?
It's called City Walk.
Oh, City Walk. Okay.
I had a lot of fun at City Walk. Riverwalk is San Antonio.
That makes sense.
I had a lot of I had a lot of fun there. Orlando was, a blast. And
Yeah.
I stayed at Universal. No, where did I stay? It wasn't Universal. I stayed, where did we stay? They had a freaking lazy river. Anyways, great place for the stadium's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, but I mean, it was still a JW Marriott. That's with the lazy river, or maybe it's a Ritz Carlton. I don't remember. Either way,
riveting podcasting, Drew.
Yeah, great. What'd you say?
I said riveting podcasting, Drew. Finding out where you stayed.
Well, no, you want to stay at good places, but Orlando
True.
is a great location with a lot to do. If it's me and it's like, hey, here's Vegas and here's Orlando, I'm going back to Vegas.
So that's what I was going to get at. Tell those that are wanting to teeter on
Vegas
the edge.
Was so
why
convenient.
Vegas? Yeah, because I've seen a lot of discourse of this again. Boy, I can't afford it again. Well,
first of all, I will say that the ticket prices, it doesn't matter where they're going to be, are going to be astronomical for WrestleMania.
True.
Now,
you
do
can't
I
deny
think
that Vegas was a little bit of a tweak on that?
No doubt about it. Do I think that they could, learn from their mistake, Easter Sunday, all this other stuff, and maybe not have the ticket prices so high and they'd sell well? Sure, because it's back to back. So you're asking for a repeat audience. You got to, maybe, see what's out there in terms of knowing your demographic and they do. It was so convenient. It's a great host city. You could walk from any hotel on the Strip to Allegiant Stadium. I would stay away from Ubers. I would stay away from any type of car services because the traffic, we did it one night getting there and it was an absolute nightmare. And the Uber driver was like, listen, I appreciate the money, but I'm just telling you guys, you could have walked out of your hotel, you walk across the street, it would have taken you 12 minutes instead of taking this 36-minute Uber because of traffic. And I was like, I appreciate that. And then we never did Ubers again. But everything was very walkable. It was a blast. The pools, the casinos, all that other stuff. I really wouldn't mind if WrestleMania did like a 4-city rotation. And that being Vegas, New Orleans, Dallas, and I got to give California some love. So
LA.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to the LA ones, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, because they all they care about is the Baydala bottom line. So,
well, I'm just saying. I think
Drew's not coming to LA. We ain't going to Hollywood again.
No. They'll go.
Go to San Fran.
I'm not that stupid. They will, and I'm not that like egotistical. They'll go wherever the money is, brother. So you got to figure WWE. Listen, Nick Khan and Ari Emanuel said they're going to go to destinations that are fit for WrestleMania, warmer climates. So I think Vince McMahon had a different outlook. He was like, all right, we can come to New York. We can go to Cali. We can go to Detroit. We can go to Chicago. We can kind of spread it out and everyone gets a little flavor of WrestleMania. I want everyone to feel that WrestleMania experience. Different people now. They want the pomp and circumstance. They want the show and they want the cities and states to kind of turn into WWE town and WWE world. And Vegas turned into that.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. Now, I know it's, again, WWE hasn't even announced this yet, but when do you think we could get some sort of official announcement by WWE? And if that announcement is at least about New Orleans not getting it again or anymore, like, is it going to be the same press release that also says not only is New Orleans not getting it, but we're going to put it here? Like, how do you see that working out? Because I find it somewhat awkward that they have to do this.
They let New Orleans make the announcement. Like, that's what I was told. Like, they wanted New Orleans to make the announcement, and they have. So I don't believe that WWE will issue a statement. WWE and New Orleans have, whatever, decided to go this way or that way. And WWE will issue something, but it's not like they have to. WWE doesn't have to put out any sort of statement right now. They just need to announce that, WrestleMania will be headed to such and such instead of New Orleans.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. They don't have to do something super quick, but they have to say it's not going to New Orleans because there's so many more fans that are not perpetually online that have not heard this yet and are probably still thinking New Orleans and WrestleMania next year.
Yeah, and I emailed On Location, and they haven't changed any of their stuff yet. Everything still says New Orleans, so I think it's coming. You know,
I do think it's somewhat awkward that they're like, well, we're gonna go somewhere else. So sorry. But let them deal with it, you know.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, you know.
Yeah,
sorry.
Fascinating stuff, though. Do you think? I'll go to one of the questions here. Sure. I think if it goes back to Vegas, is this the last chance we could get for Roman Rock? Because it's gonna be there, or does The Rock no show another WrestleMania?
Oh, I think Rock is done. Truthfully, I don't. You know, with his movies, you know, he's got the Scorsese. He just did the other one. It seems like Rock
there's a lot that they're just pumping. We see more news that's indirectly telling you he's not coming back.
You know, like I said, I had a video months before WrestleMania saying that this is the last time. If I believe Rock is going to wrestle at 41, he didn't. But I thought that was it because I don't think he'll wrestle at SummerSlam, and I damn sure don't think he'll wrestle at 42. And I think once that Scorsese movie hits, I think if it's received well, he's gone. And I'm going to say right now, I don't think The Rock is wrestling again in WWE. You know, I should say for the foreseeable future.
Or at all. You can't just say in WWE because, you know, people are going to say, oh, is he going to go to AEW?
Well, I just don't know. I don't think The Rock... I can't see The Rock wrestling at SummerSlam or WrestleMania 42. I think his movie career is going to re-blossom, truthfully. So
I don't know. They cut off AEW the other night, and Black Adam was on the TV. So I mean, maybe some stuff's flourishing again. Yeah,
that's no good. I heard about that though.
No, it's not. Well, yeah, hell of a news day for sure.
Yes.
Yes, and that's coming before we have all these shows this weekend. We were going to have a lot to talk about regardless, and then all of a sudden, day of, boom, WrestleMania is not going to New Orleans anymore.
Yeah, again, just joining us, I believe WrestleMania will either be in Orlando or Vegas. And I will say, yeah, I think that's where it's at. And I understand a lot of people are upset about it. But again, there's a lot more that's going on with this that we haven't been made privy to in terms of like everybody. But I do believe this was something that New Orleans just, you know, I think New Orleans was like, hey, you know, this and that without going into gory details. And WWE was like, no. And this is what we agreed upon, blah, blah, blah. And I think they were just like, hey, if you could find somebody else to have it, go for it. And we'll revisit this in the next 3 to 4 years. I do believe New Orleans will host a WrestleMania again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry. I don't see. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't see. I mean, of course, Vegas and is most recent, and Orlando has done it recently as well. So that's why those are at the front. But sure. Indianapolis is going to get one soon.
Yeah,
are they out of the realm of being next year?
No,
no. Indianapolis has been like announced though as like they're gonna happen.
Well, and I'm glad you brought this up, and then we got to get off the air here. But I'm glad you brought this up. Indy is getting one. I believe Nashville, Tennessee is getting one. I believe London will get one. I believe Saudi will get one. Vegas is definitely going to get another one. I reported that they were extremely impressed. They loved what it was able to generate. They loved the vibe, that being TKO, that they were going to bring one back within the next 3 to 5 years. 12 months wasn't on my radar, but here we are. So again, I think New Orleans will host another WrestleMania, but I also wanted to state before we get out of here that I did ask Tony Khan on the media call about Max and the distribution of pay-per-views. And he did state that there was no pressure from WBD when they did sign this new media rights deal to have an exclusivity with pay-per-views because they needed to build, they being WBD, an infrastructure for AEW to host and have their pay-per-views on that platform. And he believes it is, still coming. But I want to say it's very interesting, if we could get through another quarter here without AEW having to have exclusivity of their pay-per-views on this new media rights deal with WBD. But I do believe for those who continue to ask that AEW will have a pay-per-view option for streaming capabilities on WBD. soon.
That would be nice. Because I'd rather have that than the confusion of what's it going to be on this weekend?
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I mean, Triller seems to be not a thing really as time goes on here. So could just be moving over to YouTube and Prime and wherever else willing to have pay-per-view.com. Straight up pay-per-view. Still going to be a model for them. So doing something with Max would be HBO Max because they're going back.
I know. The change is just
insane.
Yeah. I like just pick a name.
They never should have got rid of HBO. It's HBO and Max, formerly Cinemax, are two names that you know. So keep
That's
HBO
not what I
Max.
used to call it. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I know. You used to call it Skinamax.
There it is.
That's right, baby.
There it is, baby. Little
although HBO had some good sexual programming.
I remember it. No, I remember it was like Real Sex, I think.
Real Sex, yeah. And then Cat House, and then there was another. Taxi Cab Confessions.
I don't remember that one.
Well,
remember that one. Weren't you like 5 when this stuff came out?
No, they show reruns. I was probably a teenager. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Hey, when you first get cable, you got to flip through those channels, buddy.
I hear you.
What's on this? Oh.
What are you watching? Nothing.
You gotta have the back button on ESPN or something. You gotta get out of there.
Yeah.
Or the power button.
I didn't think you were old enough to remember the back button on the remote there.
Oh, true. I'm 32. I'm not 12.
Oh, okay. I thought you were a little bit younger than that. All right.
No,
not bad.
No, I lived before internet, during internet beginnings, rapid fire internet, and now it's everything's internet.
All right. Well. You learn something new every day. But again, I always enjoy these. This was fun. WrestleMania Vegas or Orlando. This was not, again, everyone wants to paint WWE as like this evil, maniacal, like, like Scrooge McDuck swimming in coins. But once they agreed to have a WrestleMania with a city and state, they're not going to call and be like, hey, listen, I just want to let you know we got about $45 million extra. We have to pull this deal. All right. That's not how this works. This isn't a skit from Chappelle's Show where WWE's like, listen, I need the baby or you can't have WrestleMania. Right. So again, I want to thank Juice. I want to thank all of you. We were on X. We were the most viewed and watched, beating everybody. So I appreciate that. Over 600 people watching live. So thank you very much.
To see it.
You do love to see it. You could follow Juice at the bottom there. He is at Juicy Steen. I am at Andrew Baydala right there. Juice, anything you want to tell the lovely audience before we get out of here?
Yeah, I got a sad note, but it's I just wanted to represent here Devil Wears Prada. This band, that's my favorite band. It's a Pittsburgh Steelers type thing. No, it's a band. They're a metalcore band. Unfortunately, if you saw the news today, there was a plane that went down in San Diego.
Oh, geez. I was going to make a joke, so thank God I didn't.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't. But the pilot was a guy who worked in the music industry, Dave Shapiro, and one of the guys on the flight was the original drummer of the Devil Wears Prada for the first 11 years of their band. So, unfortunately, it was a sad day for fans of that group. And Dave Shapiro worked with a lot of different people. So,
why does Dave Shapiro sound so familiar? Is he an agent?
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk off the air.
Absolutely. So, yeah, that was a very unfortunate story. But Devil Wears Prada is my favorite band. They're from Dayton, but the lead singer's from around Pittsburgh. So he's always showing love to Pittsburgh sports. And that's what this shirt is. It's a Steeler logo with their branding. So shout out to all those guys. I know that they're missing their former bandmate today. So.
Yeah, well, we'd like to pray for their families, and we'd like to wish them the best. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. Yeah. May God bless those families who, unfortunately, it seems like the plane crash happened today, and they lost. Everybody was lost.
Yeah, I think it was everybody that was on board, and it was in like a neighborhood area, but I don't think anybody in those houses got hurt. But
unfortunate news. But yeah, God bless them, and thoughts and prayers to their families. Juice, it's always good doing the show with you. Thank you all for watching. We will catch you guys and girls next week. Make sure you guys enjoy your Memorial Day. Be safe. Don't do anything stupid. I'll catch you guys and girls next week. Enjoy the pay-per-views. Enjoy Saturday night's main event. And remember, Just wrestling.
That was Drew and Juice, a special collaboration between Final Bell Media and the Juice Box. Make sure to listen to Drew and Juice wherever you listen to podcasts.